Hey everyone, today we are going to be covering the boss fight, Kings Flame Fuoco in Lies of P. Fuoco is found at the end of Venigni Works and is a really cool boss because it's bringing in some new mechanics along with really trying to utilize some older mechanics that you may have not felt the need to use yet. We are going to be traveling there from Venigni Stargazer. If you keep getting hit by this guy right here throwing the firebomb at you, just stop before he's about to throw it and continue moving on. It'll help to not get hit before the boss fight itself. That way you may get one extra hit on the boss fight. Let's take a moment here and enjoy the quick opening cutscene to King's Flame Fuoco. Fuoco is a two-phase boss fight in which you have this room with giant pipes going from ground to ceiling. Your goal in the first phase is when it does its charge attack to try and not blow up these pipes. If these pipes bust, it'll make the second phase a little bit harder. The main moves that Fuoco does try to do is a spinning strike, generally 3 in a row. If you can get the timing on these and have 3 perfect parries, the boss should be easily staggerable. And if you're not a god gamer like myself, sometimes just blocking them will suffice. Fuoco will also do these typical slam attacks, one upward, one downward. Those can be easily dodge rolled to get out of the attacks, or if you're feeling brave, hitting it with a perfect parry would be beneficial, as this boss is difficult to stagger. After a while, the King of Flames is going to bend over, dumping their molten core onto the floor. You just need to run away whenever they do this, because it does huge AoE damage. Once you hit the second phase, it's identical to the first phase with the melee attacks, but Fuoco will also start firing their cannon. One of these shots seem to fire oil, while the other shots tosses fire. You want to keep the pipes up because it will block the attack, which can give you some time to heal up. Fuoco's attacks are big and large, which generally will give you the window to get him down. It's a really cool boss fight because this is the first boss fight that I've seen in Lies of P that actually takes the time and uses mechanics instead of just dodging or parrying within the fight. Some of the additional strategies that I use for this fight is to use the summon. The reason why we want to use the summon is because within the new patch, these summons are substantially better. They can get a lot of work in, they can help with the stagger, they can take aggro, which is amazing. One thing to note though, that these summons are dumb and will just stand in front of the fire when you're moving from the first phase to the second phase. Finally, I would be using throwables for this fight. The best one I found was the throwing cell. You may not have used throwables before because you haven't had to need them necessarily, but this fight it's definitely beneficial. These throwing cells could do a whack of damage. I typically try to use them as he's moving from phase 1 to phase 2 to get that extra damage in without having to worry from the ranged attacks in phase 2, and it gives you a little bit of downtime so you don't have to worry about rolling or anything like that. I would take a couple attempts here to get the patterns down, but then when you're ready to fight, use the summons and use the throwables to douse this boss down. Because the throwables are a consumable, you will only have a certain amount, so I do try to only use them whenever you need to. From defeating this boss, you'll receive the high-powered flame amplifier, which you can take back to Eugenie to get the Flameberg Legion arm, as well as the King's Flame Ergo. You'll also receive the Flame Grindstone, which will allow you to sharpen your blade with fire. Just note that this does not work with items that already have some sort of elemental damage, so the Police Baton Blade you won't be able to use to sharpen with it because it already has that electricity based on it. Well, that was an easy peasy boss fight, and it's all done. Until next time.